Have you ever wondered where black people truly come from according to the Bible? What does the scripture say about their origins, their purpose, and their place in God's grand design? Today, we dive into a powerful and often overlooked mystery that may change the way you view the history of humanity. Stay tuned, because what we uncover might surprise you. Stay with us as we unravel the truth, where characters, history, and truth converge. Many people are unaware that the Bible stories are not only spiritual lessons, but also contain fascinating historical truths. In the Bible, we find lines that conceal information about nations, where they were born, and how they developed. And within it, a mysterious story about a unique nation has made scholars ponder for thousands of years. We will explore the lesser-known details about the nations in the Bible, and whether we can trace the origins of black people within it. This story is not just about biblical characters, but about how they connect with us, with modern-day people. Are you ready to understand the deeper connection between ancient events and what we live today? So join me as we embark on a journey to uncover a story that may change the way we understand human history. It's time to uncover something profound that will change the way you think about the origins of humanity. Together, we will uncover the secret of black people and their connection to the stories within the Bible. Get ready to see a history you've never thought of before. The Bible gives us many glimpses into the early origins of humanity, especially through its genealogies. The first notable reference comes in the book of Genesis, where we are introduced to Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After the flood, these three brothers are the ancestors of all the nations on earth. But it's Ham, one of the sons of Noah, whose descendants play a pivotal role in the development of what we now recognize as the African nations. In Genesis 10, we see that Ham's descendants include Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan, each of whom are believed to be the ancestors of various African peoples. Cush, for example, is often associated with the ancient kingdom of Nubia, which was located along the Nile in what is now Sudan. The descendants of Cush are called the Cushites, and they are mentioned numerous times throughout the Bible as a people with great influence, wealth, and power. Their history is recorded not only in the Bible, but also in ancient documents and artifacts, proving the strength and prosperity of this kingdom. The Cushite warriors participated in many battles and built a powerful civilization, leaving a lasting impact on history. The story of Ham and his descendants helps us understand the significant role of African nations in the global historical context. The trade, cultural, and political relationships between ancient nations created a powerful network, connecting civilizations across the ages. The influences of the Cushites spread, and we see their mark in the cultures and societies of other great civilizations like Egypt and the Kingdom of Israel. It is this prosperity and influence that created a lasting legacy, which still exists today. The story of Ham and his descendants is a crucial part of the greater story of humanity. Thus, we can see that through the stories in the Bible, Africa played a significant role in the formation of humanity. And in this journey, the Cushites were always an indispensable part of this civilization. These discoveries help us realize the rich cultural heritage of African nations. These ancient artifacts are not only evidence of a great civilization, but also a bridge that helps us understand the connections of peoples in the Bible. Through these discoveries, we see that the stories of the Cushites are not only found in the Bible, but also recorded in the histories of other civilizations. The world has known the wealth and power of the Cushites, from gold and silver to knowledge and art. The influence of the Cushites was not limited to Africa, but they were also a bridge between Eastern and Western civilizations. Kingdoms like Nubia and Aksum became important trade centers where cultures from Asia, Europe, and Africa converged. With their outstanding artistic talent, the Cushites created artworks that were not only beautiful, but also deeply cultural, honoring gods and ancestors. The prosperity of the Cushites remains a testament to their contributions to humanity, and they will forever be remembered as an important part of biblical history. One of the most fascinating and direct references to black people in the Bible comes through the story of the Cushites. In the Old Testament, the Cushites are not just a footnote, they are a strong, vibrant community that holds significant importance in several key biblical narratives. One powerful example is found in the book of Numbers, where we see Moses marrying a Cushite woman. This union is notable not just because of the cultural exchange it represents, but also because it reveals God's acceptance of diversity in His people. A theme that is often overshadowed, God's acceptance of diversity in His people. Another key moment is found in the story of the prophet Zephaniah, whose lineage is traced back to Cush. Zephaniah, a prophet of great importance, served during the reign of King Josiah and delivered messages of judgment, hope, and restoration. The fact that God chose a Cushite to carry His word shows the integral role that African peoples played in the unfolding story of Israel and the greater plan of salvation. These stories show that the Cushites were not just part of history, they were an integral part of God's redemptive plan. From these stories, we see that it's not just different peoples, but each nation, whether small or great, has an important role in God's redemptive history. The Cushites didn't just exist for a short time. They left a lasting mark on the development of ancient civilizations. It is through these people that we gain a deeper understanding of the richness and strength of ancient African communities. We see that figures like Moses and Zephaniah are not just important characters in the history of Israel, but also exemplars of greatness that came from the fusion of cultures. Moses marrying a Cushite woman is not just a personal event. It's a sign of integration and unity between nations in God's plan. This reflects not only God's expanding love for all nations, but also honors African peoples, where these stories originate. The stories of the Cushites are not just confined to the past, they continue to drive our understanding of diversity in our spiritual journey. With each story, each detail, we see that God's plan is inclusive and impartial, encompassing all people in the family of humanity. The story of the Cushites and others in the Bible teaches us that no one is excluded from God's plan. No matter the people group, each has a significant place in God's grand redemptive plan. Thus, the story of the Cushites and others like them is not just part of the past. It's a lesson for us about unity and God's love. And this opens up a new perspective on how we view diversity and inclusion in today's society. The story of the Cushites is a living testament to the importance of every people group in God's plan, regardless of skin color, ethnicity, or culture. Therefore, we not only see the significance of the Cushites, but also recognize the value of every community in God's redemptive journey. Each people group carries a part of God's global redemptive plan, and we all have a role in this grand story. We today can continue this mission, connecting and building a peaceful, unified world. Together, we are part of the great plan that God has for all humanity. So what does all this mean for us today? When we look at these biblical accounts, it's clear that the Bible does not shy away from the diversity of humanity. Unfortunately, throughout history, there have been many who have used the Bible to justify the marginalization of certain groups. But a careful reading of Scripture reveals that God's plan for humanity is diverse and inclusive. The stories of the Cushites, the mention of Mizraim, and the prominence of other African peoples in Scripture highlight the essential role they played in the ancient world. And that essential role continues to this day. This serves as a reminder that God has long planned for the harmony and diversity of humanity. Look into the Bible and recognize that we, no matter who we are or where we come from, have value in the eyes of God. Together, we can contribute to the restoration and growth that God has intended for all of us. Let us act and live by the values the Bible teaches, so that we can create a more harmonious world. The Bible is not just an ancient book, but a living message, constantly reminding us of God's unconditional love and diversity. When we look at stories like these, we see that the Bible does not discriminate, but celebrates all nations, all ethnicities. No matter where we are or who we are all part of God's greater plan. We are called to live in harmony and work together, regardless of race or background. God's message is eternal, and through every generation, we continue to learn and grow from these stories. It is a reminder of the power of community and the connection between all peoples in the work of restoration. We must acknowledge and honor this diverse history to build a more peaceful world. Peace and understanding between nations begin in the hearts of each of us. Every small act, every gesture of kindness contributes to positive change in society. As we look toward the future, we must remember that God has created a world full of diversity and harmony. The diversity in the Bible is not a coincidence, but part of God's divine plan. Our prayers, no matter the culture or ethnicity they come from, are heard and cherished by God. As a family of humanity, we must protect and love each other. Our love and care for one another are the solid steps on God's journey. Look at this picture and remember that we are all brothers and sisters, creating a global family in God's love. In conclusion, the Bible offers us a rich tapestry of stories that reflect the diversity of God's creation. From the descendants of Noah's son Ham, to the powerful and influential Cushites, to the spiritual leaders like Zephaniah, Black people are woven into the very fabric of biblical history. These stories remind us that no one is excluded from God's plan. Every people group has a place in His grand design. As we move forward, let us remember that the origins of Black people in the Bible are not just a footnote, but a vital and celebrated part of the story of humanity's relationship with God. We don't just see the Cushites or Zephaniah in the stories of the past, but they continue to live on in every step humanity takes forward. The presence of Black people in the Bible is a powerful affirmation of the greatness and inclusiveness of God's creative work. Every story, every person in the Bible reflects the greatness of God and the diversity He has created. Therefore, let us honor every nation, every origin, for we are all a part of God's great plan. Let us move forward, understanding and loving each other in the diversity of nations to build a more peaceful world together. Because every nation has a special mission in God's plan, and together we will create a world full of meaning and hope. We are one family in God's eyes, regardless of race or origin. And every story in the Bible is an important part of humanity's shared journey, guiding us towards love and peace. We are called not only to understand, but also to love and accept the differences within our community. As we look at the diversity of humanity, we see that all of us are created in God's image. We may face challenges, but in unity and love, we will overcome all. This diversity is not only richness, but an essential part of the journey back to God. We all have one thing in common: God's unconditional love for all people. When we connect with each other, we create a stronger community where each person can find their value. We need to recognize and honor the contributions of all nations, as all play an important role in God's plan. We are like ancient trees rising strong from the earth, carrying lasting and eternal values. This journey doesn't end, because each day we learn more about each other and about God. Remember, we are all one family in God's light, and every story in the Bible is a part of this family. Each new day brings an opportunity for us to love and understand one another under God's guidance. Let us soar high, overcoming all barriers and living in the peace that God has given to all of us. And in every step we take, let us remember that we are all a part of the great story that God has written for humanity. Now that you've learned about the biblical origins of Black people, what are your thoughts on these revelations? Do you agree with the significance the Bible places on their role in history? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to share it with others who may benefit from this knowledge. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into biblical mysteries, history, and faith. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to exploring more of these truths with you in the next video.